Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So it has been a really long time since I have shown my saltwater tank on camera, and in fact I don't even actually think I've really shown it on camera since I've gotten like my fish and corals in it. Last time I showed you any of my saltwater fish I think was in my video where I was talking about the new fish that I got, and at the time they were still in quarantine. They were living in a quarantine tank, and so you guys haven't really seen the new tank with the fish and everything in it, and it's been up and running for like quite a while now. It's been up for a few months, so it obviously looks a lot different since you last saw it. I have some things to update you on. I think it's been a little while. I think it's time to talk about the tank. So in this video we're just going to be going in depth about my saltwater tank, what it's like currently. I'm going to be giving you a little tour of the tank, showing you everything I have in it. I'm going to show you guys how I clean the tank. I'm probably going to do a water change on camera. Also going to be telling you guys some products I like, testing the water, I don't know, whatever. I'm just going to be going very in depth about my tank because it has been a long time since you guys have seen it, and we are very overdue for a fish tank video. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the fish tank now. So here it is. Here's the tank that has not been shown in literally forever. So it's kind of hard to get a really good look at it with the lighting. Maybe I'll try and play with it in a minute and see what I can do, see if I can get it to look a little bit better, but it's not awful, so we'll take a look at it like this for now. So as some of you guys may remember, this is a 75-gallon tank. It is Reef ready, meaning it has the overflow installed over there, and yeah, that's the tank. I don't know, let's go ahead and take a closer look at everything. So if you guys watched my video where I actually like set up the whole tank and scaped it, you will probably know that really nothing has changed with the scape. Made it like this originally. I kind of have two separate rock piles. There's one over there and then one over there, and I do have one little rock all by itself right there, but that was what I was really going for with this tank, is I wanted two rock piles rather than like one big one. My personal preference, that's just what I like. So yeah, and as you can see, I now have fish in here as well as quite a few corals. So I actually only have 4 fish in here at the moment. I haven't gotten any new fish in a long time, but as you can see, I do have my 2 clownfish, and these are phantom clowns, which I have a whole video about if you want to check that out. And then I also have a canary wrasse who is over here swimming around, and in the tank I also have a purple firefish who I typically see very rarely. The fish tends to hide in the rocks quite a lot. I mean, you can see there's obviously lots of little holes in the rocks and everything that the firefish just love to hide in, so usually she only comes out when I'm feeding the tank or something, but in there somewhere. Or on top of the fish I have some snails and stuff throughout the tank. I mean, you can see one there, there's one down there, one right down there, one there, I don't know. There's quite a few snails all throughout the tank. I don't know exactly how many I have, but I have a decent amount. And I obviously have some corals too, so I think we'll go and take a closer look at all of the corals I have. So 3 of the corals that I have in this tank I actually just bought yesterday, so they're still kind of going through like an acclimation process. They're still getting used to everything, so my 3 new corals don't look the greatest right now, but it usually takes corals a couple days to fully warm up to their new environment. So this coral that you see right down there, which is an elegance coral, is one of the new ones I got. Like I said, just got it yesterday, and since the camera doesn't show the colors and stuff very well, it's just hard to with the blue lighting and everything. I'll insert some pictures as well on the screen so that you can see a better look, but this is my elegance coral. Actually, I'm going to try playing with the lights to see if I can make everything look better. So yeah, I guess that shows up a bit better on camera, so I'll just turn the blue lights down just to film a little bit. So there is my elegance coral, and then if we move up right here, this is another one of my new corals I got. This is my bubble coral, which is looking quite funny at the moment because, like I said, it's new, still acclimating and all that, so it looks a little weird. And then down here we have a torch coral. Torches are one of my absolute favorites. I really like them a lot. This was the very first coral that I added into this tank, and it is doing awesome. Moving up here we have a gonopora, which are often known as flower pot corals. It's a purple one. And then over here we have a Duncan coral. This is a branching Duncan, and it's growing a lot of new heads. If you can like see on camera there's a bunch of tiny heads there. When I got it, it was only 2 heads. Now it has 3 big ones, and like it literally has like 8 small ones growing out of it. So this coral's doing really well. Moving down here, I just have a tiny little acan. I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing that right. I think it's acan. can, I don't know, but it could be saying it wrong. Could have a tiny little acan coral down there. I think I prefer this side of the rocks. Like, I think I just like this side better over this side, but I don't know. I just seem to personally like this one better, and I like the corals over here more. Except this coral right down here is one of my personal favorites. This is my Lobo. I wish that it showed up better on camera because the colors in this coral are so pretty, but it just doesn't look that good on camera, and it makes me very sad. And then over here we have another torch coral. Like I said, I have one over here, and then I have another one over here. Like I said before, torches are literally one of my favorites, so I like having them. Then right there I have a favia. It's just a purple favia with blue centers, but you can't see it very well on camera. And then in the back I have my bluish green Gonopora, as well as a little bit of green star polyp. And then at the very top here I have a neon green hammer coral. This was my other new coral that I just got yesterday, so it hasn't opened up fully. Again, still going through like the acclimation process, but this is one of my new corals that I got. So that is a nice little overview of the tank. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. There's my corals and my fish. I feel like my tank isn't super interesting, especially compared to a lot of other people's tanks. This tank is not that old, so it's not like I have a ton of fish or corals in it yet, but it's always nice to do a little update video on it so you can see what it looks like now versus what it was like when I first got it, and then maybe versus what it's going to be like in 6 months. So now that I've given you a tour of the tank, showed you everything that I have and all of that, I am going to start doing some like tank maintenance and stuff. First of all, I'm going to start with feeding the tank. So for my reef tank, I have a cube of frozen mysis shrimp here. So I'm just going to go and de-thaw them and then feed them to the fish. Okay, so all of the shrimp is de-thawed. So I'm just going to go and open up the tank and then dump all the shrimp in. And they go crazy over it. And to feed all the corals in my tank, I have been using this. I've been using these Reef, which I really love for feeding corals. So all I do is I take the Reef and some tank water and mix them all up. The Reef is almost like a little powder, so that's what it looks like mixed up. And then I just use a little syringe to basically direct it onto the corals. And now I will be doing a water change in a little bit. I'm currently making my RODI water, but I mean there's not a whole lot here right now. I have to wait until this bin like fills up. Bin filled to the top is 20 gallons, and that's usually what I like to do for my water changes. I like to do a full 20 gallons, so wait for this bin to fill up and then we will be doing a water change later. Now before we do a water change, I'm going to grab some of my test kits and stuff that I have in here, and I'm going to test my water. So I have these 5 test kits here for now. I have an alkalinity test kit, I have a nitrite test kit, a nitrate test kit, magnesium test kit, and a calcium test kit, and that is what I'm going to be testing for today. So these test kits were all actually sent to me by a company under the name of Exotic Reef Import. You guys may have heard of them before, but they sent all of these to me to try out, and I'm really happy that they did because I have been loving loving them so far. I mean, it's always good to have a good reliable test kit, and I've really been liking these. And I do want to point out that I am not sponsored to say this at all. Like, they're not sponsoring me, they just sent me these to try out, so I could say whatever I wanted, but I have really been liking them, so I'm going to go ahead and use them, and I'm going to show you guys how I use them and everything like that. So let's go ahead and start testing my water. Okay, so now that I've used all 5 of these test kits on camera, I think I'll go ahead and give them a little bit of a review. Once again, like I said, I'm not sponsored for this, like I'm not being paid for anything. So everything I'm saying is literally just 100% what I feel and think. And overall, I can say that I do really like these tests. I find them quite easy to use, and they do seem to be quite accurate. They all come with really good instructions and really good ways to measure everything. So I don't know, I thoroughly do enjoy them. I will say, when I first used the calcium, the alkalinity, and magnesium ones, I was a little bit confused on how you actually measured it, but turns out I was just not reading the instructions very well, and I very quickly caught on to how you actually measure everything. So I can honestly say I was a tiny bit confused by these 3 at first, but it took maybe 3 minutes to figure it out. It was literally just my fault for not reading instructions very well. So overall, I think that all 5 of these test kits worked great. I now have reliable ways of figuring out my levels in my tank. So yeah, overall I do like these, and I would recommend them to anyone who has a saltwater tank. So after using the tests, I now have all of my readings, obviously, and my nitrates were absolutely perfect. They were 0. My nitrites were about 10 ppm, which is quite good, but I mean, ideally the lower the better, but with a water change, some of those nitrates will be removed. And the only other thing that I was fairly worried about was my calcium. My calcium was a little bit low, so I am going to dose the tank with some calcium, but overall I'm fairly happy with my results. So now I'm just going to do a water change, and then I will be adding some calcium to the tank. If you are interested in getting any of them, head on over to Exotic Reef Imports. Now for my water changes, I have been also using this Royal Nature salt. So this is the same brand of the test kits salts that I've been using. It's all Royal Nature, and Exotic Reef Imports sent me this as well. Once again, not sponsored, but they did send it to me, and I can honestly like 100% say that this is the best salt I've ever used. I'm literally not making this up. I would highly recommend this salt to anyone with a saltwater tank. I honestly can say that it is by far my favorite salt I've ever used in my whole life, and you guys will see why as soon as I get doing my water changes. So when I start doing my water change, you guys will absolutely see why I like this salt so much. Obviously, when you are making salt water, one of the things you have to do is mix the salt with the water. And with every other salt I've used before, I find when you mix the salt and water together, the water gets fairly cloudy, obviously, because you're mixing the salt within it. And I found a lot of times it can take quite a while for the cloudiness to die down, but I am not lying when I say this. Like, this salt right here, literally the water is like, all of the cloudiness is gone within like 1 minute. It's so awesome. The water cleared up so fast. With other salts that I've used in the past, usually the water stays cloudy for quite some time. Like, yeah, I've seen it stay cloudy literally for like an hour or two. And I literally just finished mixing this like a minute ago. You can see there's still a little bit of salt down there that I didn't even mix yet. Like, I just finished mixing this and it is already crystal clear. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not sponsored. I'm not getting paid to say anything. Like, this is my honest opinion, and this is the fastest I've ever seen a salt clear up in the water, so I'm pretty excited about that.